All right, good morning, everybody. Welcome to another round of coffee and questions. What's today's topic going to be? Let's talk about countersink drill bits. Now, we always sit and criticize Harbor Freight, one of the companies I do shop at, of course. I go to a lot of them. I can go to Walmart, I can go to Home Depot, Lowe's. I go to Harbor Freight, I buy off Amazon, and I look around when I'm interested in buying a tool or something like that. And I like to read through the reviews, and because I belong to two forums, I ask them questions on there, as well as the club that I tell you that I belong to, where it's like a show and tell. There's like 15 or 18 of us, and we all discuss, tools and the pros and the cons and all this good stuff, and then I write things down and put it together as content and bring it to you. Anyway, let's look at the half-inch 6-flute bit. It's dull. Lots and lots of criticism on how dull it is, and that your butter knife is actually, sharper. It's made out of, some kind of super soft steel, I suppose. I didn't end up buying them. I did demo them out at the club. I could see if you're going to use them, I had a chance to use them in a hand drill. Now, most of my, drill bits and countersinks and stuff like that, I would use off of a drill press, but there are occasions when you're going to use them in a hand drill. So out there, I got a chance to demo it real quick. I didn't really think much of it. I thought, well, if it's a super, super soft wood, you might be able to get some cuts out of it. But if you really wanted something, if you're having a shop and you're going to be doing lots and lots and lots of them, you might want to look around for something that's made out of a stronger high-speed steel or even carbide. And then, like out at the club, they said, well, what'd you expect for $2? Well, I think I expected it to cut to some degree, and I just didn't think it was worth a damn, and I personally thought, I would stay away from those. Now, what do I use instead? Let me show you a second. I'll zoom in the best I can. I don't know how the focus will be, but I have an assortment of them here for wood and steel, and I use them depending on of course, what it is that I'm making. And these have turned out to be really good in terms of the test of time. They're made out of a totally different material, I'm sure, like I said, a higher strength, high-speed steel, drill bit steel, I don't know. These are the ones that have lasted me, and they're still cutting okay. And you can see some of these are very old. I don't use the same one all of the time, but these are much better quality. And yes, you're going to pay more. Let me show you an Amazon ad of ones that I had recently bought. Now, let's go back and let's think about the Warrior set. You can get it all the way up. You can get that 3-piece set for $8.99. Like I said, they dulled real fast, even like on the first go around out at the club. So, I wasn't really impressed about wanting to use these at all. And if you took like a super close look at the tip of these tools, you're going to see visible burrs on it. And when you go to use it, there's a lot of chattering going on. And I thought, well, if it was in a drill press, I would have less chattering, I agree. And we were using a hand drill, but I thought, it's a little too much for me. I'm just not really impressed at all by the way this thing's gonna cut. Now, personally, what I think, I doubt that any of these are made out of any kind of tool steel. They must be made out of something much lighter and inferior. So again, it's kind of the reason why I stayed away from them and I went another route. Oh, I definitely, somebody said, well, what about using it on metal? You only tried it on wood. There's no way I would try them on metal. They're not gonna work. It had a really hard time, even on the pine and the Douglas fir scrap pieces that we were using out at the club. I thought, if you have that much difficulty with that, I can't imagine them doing anything to steel. Okay, now the ones on the Amazon ad, this Wesley Drill 5-piece countersink, you get 12% off. Currently, there's a discount on these. So yes, they're going to cost you more, but they also are going to last you, much, much longer. And I use a drill press. So granted, these things are going to give you a 1/4 inch, 3/8, 1/2 inch, 5/8, and 3/4. But what I really liked about these, and the reason why I had bought these, is because of the 5-edge design. I like that when you take a look and you compare it to the cutting parts and the edges on the Warriors. I mean, it just visually, it looks to be much superior. Now, there was a negative comment on these that said, well, they dulled super fast when he was trying to use a drill press and come down on stainless steel to make a countersink hole. And I thought, well, yeah, I wouldn't use these and expect them to perform really well on stainless steel. If you're going to use them on mild steel, which I have, along with some good lubricating oil, they work fine. And if you're going to use these bits for stainless steel, the reason why I said you're making a mistake is you probably really should be using carbide. If you wanted to make countersink holes in stainless steel, you shouldn't be using any of these other kinds of bits and thinking that they're going to work. And so they asked me at the club, well, how do I go about using these? Well, I pre-drill a hole. It's usually small, before I even put the screw in. And then I switch the bits over to the countersink bits. Now, I would tell you to practice a little bit, like on wood or something like that, because you can they'll work, and you can over countersink that hole so that when the screw goes in, it goes like way down. Now, if you put the screw in initially without a countersink, if that's what you want, that's fine. But that screw head will not usually sink down into the wood. And when it does, it kind of splinters it and it makes it look bad. I like the countersinks because I've gotten to where I pretty much know in my drill press when I'm coming down where to stop. And then that way, the screw head will come down and it'll rest flush, across the top of the wood. Now, if you want it to go down a little bit more because you're going to use, wood putty and sand and finish and all of that, okay, then I understand. You can go a little bit farther with the countersink. But I would tell you, practice a few times, you'll get used to exactly what depth to go to using any of these countersink bits, really. And you'll see, like in the collection here, and I have one of my, one or two in my toolbox that I do have carbide bits. So anything that is beyond, like, let's say mild steel, I get away from, these kind of bits, and I use those kinds of bits, understanding that, the difference in the material that I'm trying to cut. That's the reason I said you can't take the Warrior ones and say they're total crap, because they won't do this in steel or anything like that. Well, for a couple of bucks or a handful of dollars, I can tell you, you're not getting, any kind of drill bit steel, high-speed steel, or anything like, super strong. They are going to burn out on you fast, if not immediately. So it's worth thinking about before you buy them, and you might want to spend the extra money and get the proper tool. That's my point. Now, these Wesley bits, they come in a nice little aluminum looking case, and I like them because I can put them away in there. I put them in like one of the drawers of my toolbox. It's easy to find. I grab it, pull it out. Otherwise, over here and back of me, I have my own makeshift drill bit platform thing with drill bits, sticking up all over the place so that I know which ones, to grab. Visually, I can see them right away, and I don't just have them in a box like all bunched together. So anyway, it's a nice little organizational perk that you get along with, the thing by getting the box. It's real handy for putting them away, keeping them stored. What do I think of the pricing? Well, when I bought these just a little while back, it was a good price. I'm not going to tell you it was an outstanding discount or anything like that, but it was better than anything I saw at the big box stores. And so that's what I have around here. I've got the two big box stores, Home Depot, Lowe's. And then, like I said, you got Harbor Freight, Walmart, and some, handful of scattered hardware stores. They don't really carry a very good variety of things, I guess I should say. So when I got done looking around and I got done doing my own research, these are the ones that I decided to go ahead and buy. So far, I haven't regretted them. I've had them for, I think about 6 months now. And I'm an intermittent user. I'm not using these like in a production shop or anything like that. So they're holding up very well for me. I don't have a problem on the $15 that I paid. If you take a look at it, go back to the Harbor Freight ones, you would have paid $9, or unless you got the $2 one, which, like I told you, is total crap. But even at the $9 set, they have the same issues. They're not sharp, they're dull. The burrs are horrible. On and on and on. So you pay a little bit more, but you're getting a much higher quality set of drill bits. So those are my thoughts on this. If you know of something better or a better value, drop it in the comment below. Otherwise, go down to the description, click on it, call it up, take a look at it yourself, take a look at the reviews, and take a look at the comments. Like I said, be careful, because on all of these things, I don't care if it's Harbor Freight, Amazon, whatever, these companies hire people to write reviews. Sometimes they're not writing great reviews, they write super negative reviews because the competitor has hired a company and paid them to go criticize their other competitors' tools. So this whole thing, like you keep telling you in the past, you can't like totally rely on comments. That's the reason why I belong to the two forums, and I go out to the club meetings and I see what other people are using and what their thoughts are, and I'll put the content together, because you can't solely rely on these reviews anymore. Like I said, it's more of a rigged game, so be careful when you're reading the comments. But I tend to stick, generally, when I'm reading through them, around the 3s and the 4s, and I don't pay much attention to the 1s and the 5s. I mean, like I said, it can be kind of a rigged game, so you'll be able to tell in a short time what looks like a legitimate review and what looks like, well, something that somebody just hired somebody to say something about. All right, I could go on and on about that, and I'm not going to do that to you. But anyway, I'm Home Handyman. I hope you click subscribe, keep following me. Check that description below. Take a look for yourself. I'll see you on the next video, and you folks have a great day. Bye-bye.